we're here today to talk to Nurse Sharon again. We spoke last year about wearing masks when this whole pandemic first started, and now it's almost a year later. And instead of quelching the pandemic, it's gotten like totally crazy. And even President Biden, his first executive order was to ask people to wear masks for 100 days. So, Sharon, I wanted to know what you think. Last year, you thought that the fleece masks were the safest. Do you still feel like that?
I do. I know that with the new information coming out, that even suggesting double masking with the new strain that's coming out of COVID. I did that with my fleece mask at the beginning of the pandemic, when most people were not wearing masks. I wore my fleece mask with a surgical mask underneath. Surgical masks by themselves are not very safe, at least not for you. They are better than nothing, but they really are very minimal protection because of the fact that they gap so much. But with a proper fitting fleece mask, which you've seen the fleece mask. Actually, I actually brought one with me to show how they fit properly, right? This makes it really easy to get on. It stays securely and right. There is no gap anywhere. All the way up to your ears, there's no gap. So when you're breathing, I can breathe, I can cough, or anything like that. I cannot feel any air at all escaping my mouth. Right? So that's good, because the least amount of air that's escaping your mouth, the better.
So that means that you're not infecting anyone else. How about anyone else infecting you? Can it come through the fleece? Like from outside, like if I cough near you, like coming in?
Again, I like the fleece because it repels moisture. And as we know, droplets are how it's transferred through the air. The virus needs moisture to survive. So if it's dry and there's nothing for the virus to be transmitted through. So you're looking at repelling moisture, so it will land on your mask, but it's not going to absorb in. Cotton, you're looking at a more absorbent fabric. They have said that's why they recommend 2 layers of cotton. They also recommend that the cotton that is used be over 600 count. Most cotton masks that you're looking at that is being homemade or off, they're buying their cotton from Joann Fabric or online, and their cotton weave is only 250 at the most. You are lucky if you're getting 300 or even 400 count cotton, which is the weave, the tightness of the weave at this point. I have made 600 count cotton masks. Those you can only usually get the material from 600 count bed sheets. So they should be fairly expensive to make. You're not going to get that for a $5 mask. It's just no way. You have to pay for the quality of the mask. But if you are going to wear a cotton mask, wear an extra non-woven fabric underneath. I know people,
like a surgical.
Like a surgical mask. The thing is, if you wear the surgical mask underneath, the cotton mask needs to fit, or any mask, your cloth mask needs to fit securely against your face, under your chin, not here, under your chin. The sides needs to be closed so that the surgical mask also is closed and won't let in any air. It needs to be fitted tightly enough to your face to be effective in protecting you. It is somewhat less, it doesn't need to be fitted as well in protecting others, in that with the mask, it holds in what you're breathing. So you're looking at a person who coughs with a mask, their cough is not going to extend out as far. They say a person coughing without a mask can go as far as 20 feet away from
Are you
them.
serious? If someone coughs without
Yeah.
a mask, it can go 20 feet?
They have done clinical tests. They have done clinical tests and colored the aerosols so that you can see on what it would look like from a sneeze and a cough, and you're looking 20 feet, right? Now, if you have on a mask, it cuts it down to about 3 feet if you're wearing it properly and if it's properly fitted. Now, if it's less fitted, then it extends further. If it's not a good quality mask and it doesn't have anything, that's why they say keep us at a 6 foot distance. That is relevant. It's relevant to the fact that how far you can project the virus, how far you can project droplets and mist and so forth. Also, wearing a mask, if someone has just coughed, you don't know that they've just coughed. They took their mask down and decided, no one's around, and they decide to cough, right? So they've just spewed that 20 feet out in, say, the parking lot, and you are going to walk by there. Just 2 minutes after you didn't see them take their mask down and cough, and then they put their mask back on, and you walk by. You just walked through an aerosol mist. As you well know, we spray Lysol in our house, right? And you can feel it on your skin. You can feel, I've sprayed Lysol in front of me and not thought about it and kind of walked into where I've sprayed it. And you can smell it. You can feel it on your skin. You can feel the moisture in the air. Well, what do you think happens when you cough and when you sneeze?
So basically, you can be walking through a cloud with something infected and have no idea. Because when someone coughs, you can't smell it or see it. Or even someone who's infected.
Exactly.
That's why people say, it's astounding to me because with all the you go and get tested, you could pick it up on your way back to your car from the parking lot after you get tested. So you really have to wear a mask all the time when you're out.
Exactly. The testing, the misunderstanding about testing is so great out there. It's remarkable to me how little people understand what testing is for. Testing is for, I haven't gone and get tested, not once during these 9 months. Why? It's useless. It's a waste of resources. You get tested if, and only if, you think you have come in contact with the virus, and you know for sure. If you know that the person, say someone in your house, has come down with corona, you need to go get tested, right? Or a friend called you up and said, hey, you know what? I have a cold, I have a fever, I have aches and pains. I'm going to get tested for corona, and I had lunch with you yesterday. Then you need to go get tested. Because you have been in contact with someone that definitely has symptoms. The person who has symptoms, and the people who have been in contact with those people who have symptoms, those are the people who need to go get tested. Random testing of healthy, unsymptomatic people who have been in isolation or not associating with anybody else that have symptoms or has tested positive, is a waste of resources. I have stayed in isolation. I know my pod. My pod is less than 10 people, and my pod has not been an association with anyone who has tested positive for the virus or has developed any kind of symptoms.
But still, you go to the store, you go to where you have to go, you make a few trips now and then. You never know when you're going to be exposed. What I thought was really amazing, I have a friend who's a COVID nurse in one of the major hospitals in Fort Lauderdale, and she's worked with the patients since it started last year, and then she experienced a stress fracture in her leg and didn't work for 6 weeks, and went up and saw her daughter in Atlanta, and her daughter had gone to a party 2 weeks before, and her mom caught COVID from her after being in the hospital with all those highly infectious people all that time, because she had the gear on. She had a mask and a shield in the hospital. And I said, you're a living proof that masks work. She's a living
Oh,
example.
I take care of the elderly at this point. I don't go into the hospital. But when I go into when I go into work, I wear my mask for 12 hours a day. The only time I take my mask off is to eat or drink, and that is in a separate room from the person I'm taking care of.
That's perfect.
And not a room the person has been in. So that is the only time. And I spend 12 hours with this person, and I do not remove my mask. Right? Even when I'm in a separate room by myself. Because again, if I walk into that room that person has been in, and they have coughed or sneezed or something, I don't want to get infected, and I don't want them to get infected from me. If by chance on one of the random trips that I do, which are very few, I keep them to a minimal, to keep my exposure to a minimum, that I walked through a cloud of COVID and didn't know.
You know, you can't tell.
Whenever you can't tell, but even then, right, I am less likely to pick it up because I am cautious at work and out of work. I wear my mask.
One thing that really,
I wear my mask in the car. When I have another person in my car, I wear my mask. When I drive my
that's a very close space. Yeah.
Yeah. When I drive my mother to the doctor, I put on a mask before I get in the car. So
and she wears a mask too?
She wears a mask too.
She wears a mask too.
Yeah, because you have to consider the fact that you are limiting your exposure. Wearing the mask like this with your nose out does not protect anybody. It does not protect you, and it does not protect the other person. It is a sham. And I am demonstrating because I ran and did some errands before this today, and I stopped at a Dollar Tree to pick up something, and the cashier was doing exactly that. How many cashiers I have seen with their mask beneath their noses is ridiculous, and there is no.
And they're like assaulted all day long with other people's germs and bacteria.
Exactly.
One thing that really amazed me with masks, I read about the one that has like a little valve in it that kind of purifies the air, but it only purifies the air coming in, not going out. So it lets your air, even though you're wearing a mask, you think you're being safe, but you're not. It's blowing your bad air out there. I thought I had no idea. I just read that.
The thing is, regardless of whether or not we wear them, we like wearing a mask or not, or even if we even believe in whether or not there's COVID or not COVID, or all the political jargon that goes on with it, it just makes basic human sense and basic human empathy and kindness to each other to try and make others feel like their lives are as important to us as our very own. And therefore, if we would consider that every person's life is important as our very own, it doesn't matter whether or not we would never get COVID, because we are naturally immune to COVID. You should still consider the fact that someone else may not be immune. Even after we have had the vaccine, there is that 1% who, even with the vaccine, can still get COVID. So we need to consider that 1% we should try to protect them, because you might be that 1%. You will have no idea if you are in that 1% until you get COVID.
Until it's too late
if you're the 1%
to make a difference.
that isn't protected. It's 99% effective. Great. What happens to the 1%? We don't need to consider them. We don't need to think that their lives are not as precious to us as our very own. And you might be that 1%. So whether you get vaccinated or not, you still need to wear your mask. You still need to social distance. I agree that once you've had your vaccine and you've waited and gotten the second vaccine and you've given your body a chance, again, it's not an instantaneous quick fix. We as Americans have gotten so used to instant. Zoom, look this, we Zoom here and we Zoom there, we Zoom to each other. But our bodies don't work on Zoom time, right? And even with Zoom, you can see the difficulties we had this morning, right? We don't work on Zoom time. Our bodies don't work on Zoom time. It takes a number of weeks to build up immunity in our bodies.
Weeks right? After the vaccination? No.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
I see. Being American, I thought it was immediate. I thought as soon as you got the vaccination, and I've had people say to me, oh, I had the vaccination, I go on my life. I'm like, well, wait a minute. I don't think it works like that. But I didn't know it took a couple of weeks to really make you immune or somewhat immune. That's a shocker. No, you're right. We expect immediate everything.
The vaccine, what the vaccine does, it says to your body, it creates a reaction in your body to develop cells that will fight a virus, recognize the virus, and fight against it. Now, for your body to do that, it takes time. It doesn't happen the second you put it in there. The second you put it in there, your body says, oh, that's strange. That's something strange in me. Let me investigate. So it sends cells to the area to investigate, and then it sends out signals, and then it starts building up things to recognize it more and more. But it has to develop all these cells. It has to develop all of these immune cells and different cells to fight, defend, and recognize the virus, so that when you are exposed, the minute you're exposed, your body creates a defense. And it already has developed a system to supposedly defeat the virus. Right? It's got that strategy. But it takes time for the body to do that. It is not instantaneous. It isn't, oh, I got shot with you. The nurses will tell you, right? 3 days after the vaccine is before they even let them go back to work.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes. Because
wow.
They're letting their immune system, right, develop the antibodies. That's why you get different reactions from different people. Some people's immune system go very off to the other end and create anaphylaxis. That's why you still get some people that don't do well with the vaccine. Other people's immune system have a milder reaction and they get a mild case of COVID, right? Mild enough for their body to fight off and create antibodies, right? So that lasts 3 or 4 days, a week, and then they're back to work. Other people,
they have to miss 3 days of work for both shots.
Yeah.
On both shots, the first. Wow.
I know for sure for the first shot. Now the thing is, our bodies are so slow to recognize the coronavirus, it seems, as something that they need to mount a defense against so quickly that they're requiring a second shot. And they're telling you, you are not immune after the first shot. Do not even think that you are, right? Wait until you get your second shot. And they recommend, how long do they recommend before you get the second shot?
I'm not sure. I think it's 3 weeks. I'm not sure.
So what do you think they're waiting for? They're waiting for the body to mount a defense.
That seems like a long
in that
time.
3 weeks. Yeah, it does, isn't it? Which means the body is slow to mount a defense of the first shot.
We have
right?
high expectations.
So, you know, we have high expectations, but we're not you're not dealing with
reality.
I don't know, a magic wand. It's not a magic wand. It is human beings we're dealing with, right? And each person's body will react differently. So they're saying 3 weeks, and then they give you another shot. You know what they should be telling everybody? And you should wait 3 weeks to a month before you think that you are now 99% sure that you will not contract the coronavirus. Now, if you're in the 1% that didn't mount a defense, there's
Let
always.
me ask you this. Okay, do you think it makes sense? Do you think it makes sense because you can get the vaccine, you can wear a mask? Don't you think it makes sense as well to try to improve the state of your immune system?
Oh, absolutely.
To make sure that, yeah, and I don't hear a whole lot about that. Like, I interviewed my DO about that and got some supplements and things like that. And I was surprised when I posted how little interest I got. You know, I thought, oh, this is what it's just interesting to me that you can take some vitamins and help build your immune system. You can eat better foods, you can exercise. Like, there's not a whole lot of focus on what we can do on our own that would improve our health anyway. I don't know.
Taking personal responsibility is hard for us humans, but that we need to do. The thing is, if you boost your immune system and get the corona shot, your immune system will work better.
That's what I think. It'll work better like for whatever the vaccine's trying to do in your body. I would think the immune system would recognize it, hopefully. And
the vaccine does not work without your body's immune system working. So there is a segment of our population, again, there will always be a segment of our population where we should be kind enough to try and protect to consider the other person. That after you've gotten your COVID shot and you've waited your 3 weeks in isolation or wearing your mask and doing your 6 feet, and you've gotten your second COVID shot and you've waited a month, and now you're in that 99% who aren't likely to get COVID. Wonderful. It doesn't mean you need to stop wearing a mask or social distancing. It means you can avoid wearing a mask, say around your grandchildren, right? And around your
that's pretty huge. Yeah.
Around your party. You can hug your children now. You can get close to people you laugh with. But when you go out, you should consider the other 99 that aren't as lucky as you are. And you should wear your mask and you should social distance from these people. It is no reason for you to run riot in the world and say, well, I'm free of it. Too bad for the rest of you guys.
And in summary, what I really get from you is that, number one, the fit of the mask is probably the most important thing.
Yes.
And just about as important is what the material of the mask is made of. If you only have a cotton mask, you need to wear a surgical mask under it. You need another layer because cotton's a weave. The microbes can go through, in and out. So you need to, that's not quite enough protection. But again, if you're wearing a cotton mask that doesn't fit, you're keeping a little bit in, maybe most of your air is going up and to the side rather than right out in someone's face, but still you're not really protecting yourself or anyone else. So there's always room for improvement in our lives and everything we do. So we could maybe step up, and in this 100 days of mask wearing, we could, you know, raise the bar a little bit and have a proper mask. And even if we can't all have fleece, which I think is kind of like the Bentley or the Rolls Royce of masks, because it captures the microbes, it doesn't let them in. It's dry, hopefully, because they need water to live, right? The microbes.
Yes. Yes.
And where cotton's
Yes, they need
absorbent of moisture, cotton's absorbent of moisture, fleece is not. Is that correct? Yeah, it doesn't. It beats up on it,
Yeah.
right? If you put water on. So
Yes.
that's really brilliant. I remember when I first saw that mask on Donovan, when I saw the picture of that, I was just so, I'd never seen a mask fit so well down the sides. It looked like you had made it for his face, but it's the way fleece will fit, correct? And if a well-made mask.
Yes,
So,
and I added a nose bar also that is flexible and fits neatly to the nose. Also, because just so for those people who have either larger noses or smaller noses, so that the fit even around the nose is as tight as anywhere else.
That's perfect.
Along the face and the sides. So, you know, I think that is as best you can do, in my opinion. And it's, as I said, I wear it all the time. People say it's hot. I don't find it extremely hot. Actually, I find the double layer cotton mask way hotter and much more.
I would say you have to try different masks, because I've had masks that I couldn't wait to rip off my face. I couldn't breathe. They just got me like claustrophobic. Exactly. And then I'll find masks that, oh, this is okay. I can breathe through this. I can keep it on my face. So you have to try different things and see what works for you. So how many days can you wear? You have to wash the fleece mask every day? Is that ideal?
Yes, that is ideal. Or toss the nice thing too, you can always toss it in the dryer, and the high heat is also sterilizing in its effect. So I will
without
toss
washing?
it in the dryer.
Does
well,
that work for cotton
in a
too?
pinch. I
don't have time to wash?
Yeah, I don't know if that works for cotton too.
I think it would shrink it maybe.
The thing is that,
well, not if it's not wet.
Yeah, but I don't know what will work for cotton. What I found with my cotton mask also is that if you're getting a high quality cotton mask, when you launder it, it takes a whole lot more laundering, because it gets crinkled and crushed. It does, unless it has some kind of a polyester in it. So that's another thing. It gets really crinkled up, and then it really.
Well, I just had an aha. You just gave me an aha revelation moment, and it's not such a good one. When I wash my masks, I wash them with delicate clothing on cold, and then I dry them on air. So does that mean any germ? Well, it had soap in it, so that'll take germs out, but I'm not really killing anything.
Oh, no, you're wrong. Soap doesn't kill anything. People have a misconception. Soap, soap on hands and on anything doesn't kill anything.
But it makes it go away, doesn't it? It washes away.
No, it's called a surfactant, which means it makes it slippery, so that in agitation it will lift off of whatever it is attached to. That's all soap does. It takes things off your hands, right, by making your hands slippery and letting it and let you wash it away. That is all it does. It does not disinfect in and of itself, unless it's antibacterial. And you know what? A lot of the antibacterial soap don't really work. It's not the agitation and plain old soap works just as well as antibacterial soap if it's done correctly, which is agitation, because people are under the impression that soap kills germs, and it doesn't really.
I totally thought that. I totally thought that.
Yeah, no, the whole point of
So
washing
really,
things is to wash them away. You're washing away the germs. That's what you're doing. Now, any microbes that are left on your clothes or on your hands, right? When you dry them, then the drying will, this, the fact that there's no moisture will give it time for that to not grow again. But how long is it taking to dry? Since you're air drying, that's a problem, because as long as it is even slightly moist, that virus or whatever that microbe is has a chance to multiply.
now if you wet it again and you have microbes that are still alive and you wet it again, they can grow more, right?
They
I have a
exactly they,
science fiction mentality.
yeah, well, exactly. You're talking about if if you're taking a long time to dry your clothes, right, without heat, you are giving and just enough warmth, you're creating a wonderful environment for those bacteria to just bloom and multiply and just, yeah. So
Well, this just
I
makes me want to get
recommend
back in bed. I just want to get back in bed and pull the covers over my head.
heat. No, it's not that bad. Heat drying is good. Um, you know what is excellent? Here in Florida, where we have lots of sunshine, um, I on various occasions, even throughout the day, right? If I go outside for a walk or something, I'll take my mask with me and hang it in my windshield. Why? The sun is coming in through the windshield and
Oh, that's a great
magnifying
idea.
the
That's a great idea.
and it gets so hot. And you are talking about high heat and also sunshine. They have found that sunshine is very disinfectant. It's a great disinfection. It kills viruses better than anything we have. You know, fresh air and sunshine is one of the best things for anybody, for our souls as well as for our bodies, as for everything. Besides its vitamin D boosting qualities, it's just one of the most healthy things you can do. Put your clothes in the sun. If
That's
you don't
perfect.
have a
I
that,
mean,
yeah.
I use a low
So
heat.
dry.
I use low heat in the dryer, but is low heat even enough? It's probably enough to low heat.
I
I don't
don't.
use air dry. I use low heat.
They don't. Okay, the thing is, they really don't know for Corona how much is really enough. They really haven't um come to the conclusion of what exactly will eradicate it from all kinds of different surfaces and so forth. They've done a lot of experiments, but you know they haven't. I haven't read anything that's conclusive. As they may have done it and not just published it, or I just haven't come across it. So I don't know. I prefer a high heat for that kind of thing. Um, just to be on the safe side. Um, I prefer sunshine over anything else. I will, as I said, even after my mask is nice and clean, I love living in Florida and we already have it available. I have my mask in the window of my car so that it gets plenty of sunshine on it. It's like,
And then it's there
okay,
when you need it. Then you have it there when you
yeah,
need it too.
extra killing power. It just works. So that, you know, you have to, there's no way to, we're fighting a microbe. It's very simple, very hard to get rid of. You know,
You
it's
know,
kind of like, yeah, the best thing is the simplest things. Wash your hands frequently. Do not use antibacterial soap. Again, because you know what? People are bad. They believe that the antibacterial soap will kill things, and therefore they don't take this time to scrub. And that is the whole point. You know, wash your hands, use friction, use water, and rinse it away. Wash
right.
your
Well, that
hands
makes sense
frequently.
because I thought we were extinguishing and killing the microbes when we washed our hands, but we're just washing them away.
You're just washing them away. You're washing them
That
down. That's what you're doing. And that's the best thing you can do is wash them down the drain. And then wear your mask. Do not touch your face as much as. I realize from someone who wears their mask as much as I do, because I wear my mask as much as I do, I have learned it, the habit of continually touching my face. I don't do it half as much as I used to.
I didn't think I ever touched my face. I thought, oh, well, I don't touch my face. I don't have to worry about that. And then I started paying attention. I touched my face a lot.
We all do a lot.
Oh my God, I was shocked. I was kind of horrified.
But after 9 months of wearing a mask for 12 hours a day, I find that I definitely am not a face toucher as much as I used to be. So you can retrain yourself.
Yeah, yeah. I just really had no idea that there was that much need.
And it's a healthy practice to retrain for. Not just COVID. I mean, we still have other things out there. We have the flu. We have so many other things out there. Not as deadly, but as detrimental to us. You know, it doesn't have to kill you. It can be detrimental to you.
Right.
Just a few steps to be considerate of others, to stay home if you're sick. Do not decide that it's much more important to get a paycheck than to try and protect your fellow human being. Right? Be considerate and kind in all things. Wear a mask. Cover your face. I wore a mask long before COVID when I had allergies, because I didn't know in allergy season whether I was sneezing because I had a cold or whether I was sneezing because of my allergies. And people would look at me and say, "What you got?" And I'd say, "Nothing, I have allergies, but I'd rather not sneeze on you." They would look at me like I was crazy, and I would tell them, I said, "I'd rather not sneeze on you. So, and I have allergies. So, I wore a surgical mask before COVID, for years before COVID, during allergy season. Anytime
Especially
I had
as a nurse.
cold,
yeah.
Yeah, no, but even I wore it on an airplane, because if it was allergy season, I didn't want to sneeze on these people in the airplane. They don't need to get my germs. I don't know what germs.
They freak out on an airplane.
Yeah, they would freak out looking at me, and I would tell them, "Hey," but the thing is, I was being considerate of my fellow man before COVID ever walked in. So COVID wasn't hard for me, right?
Did you already have fleece? Did you already have fleece masks, or did you develop them with COVID?
No, I developed that with COVID, but I wore surgical masks before COVID. I would wear a surgical mask to if, as I said, if I was going to the supermarket or anywhere else, up to the doctor's office, any place I was going during allergy season, if I was coughing or sneezing, I considered the fact that the person I was coming into contact with didn't need me to cough or sneeze on them.
Exactly.
And when COVID is gone, we need to keep that in mind, to be considerate of our other human beings, to be kind and generous to others. And when we keep those things in mind, then we are less likely to contract something ourselves or give something to somebody else.
Well, at least most people seem to be wearing masks now. For a while, I mean, we had a plein air event in October, and a friend I made last year at plein air from Nashville, and she comes all dressed up, and she's a beautiful artist, and she says, "Everyone's wearing a mask here." I said, "Yeah, why aren't you?" But where she's from, they weren't. Maybe they are now in Nashville. I have no idea. But hopefully people pay attention and just try. I mean, it really seemed to work. It's amazing to me that something so simple could work so well. Because it's really not that big a
It
deal to
can.
wear a mask. I mean, at first it was when I was first wearing it, I was so put out because I couldn't breathe through the mask. And that was like, I felt I was like suffocating, but if you can, there are masks that you can breathe through, and that's workable. And I think fleece is a great material. I really think that was kind of brilliant. Good job, Nurse Sharon.
Yeah. Well, that they protect you and
We
actually
think that we're
do so.
safe. I'm a glove person.
Yeah, and it's the worst thing you can do because you will touch your face with your gloves. You cross contamination. Nurses only wear gloves when they know they are going to be contaminated. In other words, when you're going to put your hand in something yucky, then you have gloves on. But truthfully, you should not wear gloves otherwise, because if you do not know if this surface is contaminated, this cup is contaminated, then if you pick it up, right, and touch it, and it is contaminated, what you're supposed to do, right, is after you've done that, or after you've touched it, but you don't know if it's contaminated or not, is you go and wash your hands. If you wash your hands frequently, whatever germ you just touched has been washed down the sink. Now, if you
Okay, what if you're wearing gloves and you touch a lot of things and then you wash your hands with the gloves on and dry them off? Aren't they still good? Sorry.
Yes, I recommended that only to a girl that I met in the phone store, because what was happening is she wasn't able to get up and wash her hands as frequently as she would like, because she was at the phone store and she was serving people, and people would hand her their phones and so forth. Right?
Their credit cards.
And their credit, exactly. So I told her, wear your gloves, but treat your gloves like you would your hand. If
Right. Okay.
you have your gloves on, right? And you take this person's phone and you give it back to them, right? And you have finished your transaction with that person. Then you take your hand sanitizer and you put it on your glove and you wipe it around, because what was happening is her skin was starting to crack and
Mine
break.
too. Absolutely.
Then,
Absolutely.
then you can't do that, because once you've broken your skin, you have just broken your protection. Make sure that your skin does not break down from excessive washing or excessive sanitizing, because your skin is your best barrier. It's
So one thing I did that I felt very safe about when I went food shopping, because you're touching so many things that other people have touched too, I like to wear, and I forget most of the time, but when I wear gloves to go shopping, and then I'll just throw them out. But after I've touched 9 million things in the food store and all the produce, other people have handled it. You don't know who's touched it. This is really gross. I saw a woman lift up her mask in the produce section, and they have plastic bags that are so thin now you can't open them unless you get something wet on your fingers. So Sharon's done. Wait, listen. So I figured out if I go get my lettuce, which is dripping with water, then I have water on my fingertips. But this woman lifted her mask, put her fingers in her mouth, and opened the bag, and the produce guy and I were like gagging.
I will go in, and like you said, we all have the same problems. It's not like it's a unique to one person. We all, but again, what kind of solutions do we come up with? I do the same thing you do. I'll go to the lettuce department, or I'll go and I'll say, I need to find something that's wet on here, and
Right.
I can open it. Otherwise, I can't open my bag. But I have the same problem.
It really works. It works.
Yeah, but yes, no, you do not take your mask down.
Oh my God, I was dying.
Band-aids and gloves if you have breaks in your skin.
And Neosporin, or some kind of antibacterial, yeah?
I'm not big into the Neosporin or antibiotic things. No, because the thing is, your body has developed its own little microcosm around on your skin. You have your own colony of little germs, well, not really germs, bacteria on your skin, right? That bacteria are good bacteria that actually fight the bad bacteria. Illness, right, are in the air. They are. We
Yeah.
just aren't aware of them as we are right now, generally. But there are quite a few bacteria in the air and on things that we touch and so forth that our skin comes into contact with. Now, our skin would break down and just disintegrate and do all kinds of crazy stuff if it wasn't for the fact that we have a whole colony of other microbes that live on our skin, and they're beneficial. Just like they talk about the beneficial bacteria in our
Your
gut.
gut.
We
Yeah.
have beneficial bacteria in
That
our
makes sense.
skin, in our skin, right? We have natural beneficial skin that protects us. Now, when you start slathering things on like antibacterial soap and Neosporin for just a little cut or a little scrape, you are that. They don't say, oh, let me just kill the bad bacteria. They just kill bacteria in general. So you sterilized your skin, and that has actually made your skin more vulnerable to infection.
But if you're
So
like,
it is
okay,
better.
say you have a cut, but if you have a cut and you wash your hands, aren't you washing off the good bacteria then too?
Yes, but they have colonized so many, right? The colony of good bacteria is high. You have way more good bacteria than anything that the bad bacteria that you've been exposed to. In other words, if you concentrate and say you stuck your hand into a vat of COVID, since we're all COVID obsessed at the moment, we stuck our hand in a vat of COVID, right? And we take it out and we wash it off, right? We wash off all of the bacteria that's there, right? But nobody's going to stick their hand in a vat of COVID. So it is the amount, it's not one little COVID virus on your skin that is going to make you ill.
Really? See, I thought it was just one. I thought it only took one.
No. They call it viral load. That's what you'll hear them saying, viral load. It is how much exposure you're getting to it. That is why face coverings work. We're back
Like
to
a cough in the
again,
face.
right?
The cough in the face is a viral load.
The viral load. Now, if you have a mask over and you get the less, that's why. If you cover the sides of your mask and you think, oh, you have a crack just right here, right? Like you said, down here under the chin isn't completely closed, right? So, and 5 little COVID guys goes and gets blown into here, right? And gets into there. Those most likely won't make you sick. Those 5 little guys with your body, it hits your body, right? And your body goes, first you have the bacteria that's all on your beneficial bacteria that's all on your skin, right? And it hits your face like right under your nose. Somehow they get right under your nose, right? So, hey, you think they've got it, yeah. Well, but they have all those skin bacteria right there that goes, oh no, we don't like you guys. We just chew you up. So that knocks you down to 2. And then you get into the right inside your nose, and then you have a whole nother colony of
Thank you, Sharon. I've nursed Sharon. I feel much better now. I thought it was one.
Yeah,
I thought it took one microbe.
No, you need, which is why we wear masks, because you need the full onslaught. Now, if you have a big gap in the side and you're getting a whole bunch of virus inside of your mask, or the more you get in, the more you're exposed to, the more likely you are to get sick. One COVID virus that your body can most likely handle quite well. We are not quite that weak and defenseless as we are that like they are
Seriously.
trying to tell us.
I thought one would do it. Thank you very much. As a matter of fact, when I go out, I wear a hat that has this really wide brim like an umbrella, because I figured Well, even people that are wearing masks, there's still, their air goes up here and there, and the COVID could be coming back down. So I'll catch it on the brim. See how crazy you get.
Yeah,
Okay,
you
well,
know, yeah,
I'll catch that because I thought one was all it took.
Yeah, I laugh at people with face shields. Face shields out in general public, I just laugh at. Really
Oh,
and
I
truly, I
so
laugh
want
at them
one.
all
Are
the
you
time.
kidding? I want one. Really? Why?
The reason I really think it's ridiculous is not that it's not as ridiculous as it sounds. The problem with face shields and gloves and things is that people get a false sense of security. It's the analogy of living in a gated community and thinking that no, that you're safe behind your 4 foot or your 6 foot wall and your security guard that says, I need to see your ID, that you are safe. Nobody's going to break in, nobody's going to get over the wall. You're so much safe in your house.
You're right.
Seriously?
That's not true. I know that. I do know that.
But people do it. They spend
Yeah.
thousands a month to live behind these false sense of security that we like to make for ourselves are dangerous. Why are they dangerous?
That's true. You're right.
Then we let down our guard and don't take the precautions we should.
Right.
Like you will put on a face mask and say, "Oh, I have my face mask. I really don't need my mask to fit right. So my mask can fit kind of any old way. I can just drag it on and hit it on, and it has a big gap here, and it's kind of hanging off my nose, and maybe it's almost on my nose, but not really, or maybe it's under my nose. But I have my face shield, so why should I worry? You know, I'm good." No, you're not. Because I've seen it. I'm saying these things not because it's hypothetical, but because I have seen it. I have seen people wearing the little surgical mask, kind of hanging there, flopping in the wind, literally flopping in the wind, right? And their face shield.
Useless.
They have their place. People
True.
who are dealing with COVID patients. You have a COVID patient in a bed, right? You need mask, you need extra mask, you need everything sealed up. You need a face mask in case they cough and it might get into your eyes. They're not doing it for any other reason, right? They're doing it to protect their eyes. That's why we wear face shields. Face shields are to protect. People somehow think that it's then they would need to wear masks if it was going to protect the respiration. It isn't. It's to protect their eyes. They already have on their N95s that protect their breathing, right? That's to protect their eyes. And again, they're wearing their gloves because they know they're walking into a petri dish that's growing stuff.
It is like a petri dish.
Because this person has COVID. So it has a concentration of the virus. It has lots of the virus. It doesn't have one. We don't need that to walk from our car to the store because the breeze is blowing and we're outdoors. COVID may be outdoors, but the concentration is very low. It's in how many other million particles of oxygen is it diluted into?
True.
Every time that way every time we took a breath, we'd be breathing in, we'd be in trouble.
We'd all have it. We would all if it only took one, everyone would have it probably.
Probably. Yeah. If it only took one, everybody would have already.
That was really eye-opening for me. Thank you. That was a big help. And
no,
I mean,
it's called a viral load, and you need enough of the virus exposed to be able to become sick.
So I do have one more question. Having said that, if you just have like not a huge viral load, but just a small viral load, you could probably can you get like just some of the symptoms, but not really get full-fledged COVID?
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
because I mean, some of the
That's
symptoms, I'll read them. I'll go, well, yeah, I had that, but I didn't have all the symptoms. And I didn't get really sick, but maybe I had like a little edge of it.
yeah. Well, yeah.
And then
The
my
thing is,
body built an immunity to it.
if you got if you got exactly if you got minimally exposed, but there's no way to tell how low your possible minimal exposure is, right? Um, some people just let's talk about common cold. It's a coronavirus. It's not the corona 19. It's a coronavirus, right? The common cold. How many mothers in this country, right, will care for their sick kids that are coughing and sneezing and snotting and throwing up and all of that, right? In a common cold, maybe all three of their kids for 4 or 5 days and never get sick.
True.
They have tremendous viral load, right? But each person, it's different. And then somebody else can walk into the room to see the kids. Most likely dad can walk in to the room to see the kids, right? And dad's down with with a cold the very next day. Oh my God, So she's now taking care of the kids and dad because this is a common scenario.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
Her viral load is high, but her immune system is strong enough to fight it off.
Exactly. So that takes us back to the fact where we have to work on we have to make sure our immune systems are tight.
Exactly. His viral load, right, is small, but he's sick immediately because his immune system ain't used to this. He doesn't know how to launch a defense. Mom's used to launching of the defense because she's been taking care of some form of this cold for the last 3 years, right? Every other week, the kid comes home with a different virus from
True.
pre-K. What do they call it? They call it the pre-K and kindergarten bugs that
That's a petri dish. That is a petri dish.
Everybody's always sick. So it's from 1 week to the next, to the next, to the next. If mom was always sick, then we'd be in serious trouble. But no, mom is fine.
That's true. Yeah.
It's fine because she's been dealing with it and her body knows how to fight it. So a new one comes along and eventually they get to first grade and they say, oh, but they aren't getting sick anymore. Why? Their body knows to recognize it as it comes in and their immune system knows what to do and they don't get sick anymore. They're going to school with the same kids. They're getting the same exposure.
I remember that and waiting when the child has a fever, you say, hope it'll go away before you have to bring the antibiotics. And yeah, they're building their immune system.
Yeah, they're building their immune system.
One thing I have noticed that is a real hit to the immune system is stress. So you need to keep your stress level down because stress will batter your immune system. I found that out about a month ago that I had something that really gave me a lot of stress and I actually I came out with shingles.
Oh yes.
I was like shocked. I was, and I took medication for it because I felt like, it travels along the nerves and it was on my shoulder. I felt like it was going to my brain. Oh my God, that was terrifying. So I did take medication. I'm a real natural person. I do all, everything else first. But that was pretty serious. And I realized it was stress. So stress is
stress.
Yeah.
We
could have another talk about that. We'll have another meeting. We'll have a Nurse Sharon meeting about that. A convo.
Yeah.
Or a podcast. I like that. We can have a podcast.
We can do a podcast on stress since we all have to learn to deal with it one way or another. And there are many ways to deal with it. And as there is many types of stress. And when you think you've conquered one, there's always another one around the corner.
It's true, really. It's true. You can't get too complacent, that's for sure. Sharon, thank you so much. That's much better. Thank you so much, Sharon. It was a lot of valuable information. I learned a lot today. And the most stellar, reassuring thing was that it's not one microbe. I thought one little microbe, if I inhale it, I could be intubated.
No,
That's the
no,
fear.
no,
I will go to
no.
great lengths to avoid intubation. What an invasive
Yes,
procedure.
I
Oh,
totally agree with you there. But again, no, it's not just one microbe.
thank you, dear.
You need a large viral load, and that's the whole reason why mask and hand washing work,
Thank you so much.
and you'll be safe.
I think it's valuable. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I think.
All right, my dear, we'll be in touch. This was a treat.
Yes,
I'm sorry, I didn't hear
we'll
the,
keep in touch.
definitely. Thank you so much.